Hello and welcome. You're just in time for KBC Channel 1 Lunchtime News. My name is Aoko and our sign language interpretation is being done by Lucy Mwaura. Thank you for joining us. Now we begin with a bit of a sad news, especially for the traders of Gikomba Market. Early this morning, around 3 a.m., traders reported that a fire gutted their businesses and they are counting losses that are said to run into millions of shillings. We do have updates on that story. We did show in our previous bulletins, we did show PS for Interior, Mr. Kibicho, just talking about the efforts that they are going to do in order to finally try and stop these perennial fires. Remember, these fires began even this year as early as February. There was another fire, and then in April there was also another fire. And so let us now join our reporter on the ground, Ben Kipchumba. After he comes online, we are going to bring to you that situation live. But for now, we go to a story where Sirisia MP John Waluke and business partner Grace Wakungu are set for sentencing this afternoon after they were found guilty of defrauding the National Cereals and Produce Board maize 313 million shillings. The MP co-accused Grace Wahungu face the possibility of going behind bars for a maximum of 10 years, with the MP facing another hurdle of losing his seat in Parliament if he is jailed for a period of exceeding 6 months. Anti-Corruption Court Chief Magistrate Elizabeth Juma cancelled their bail terms immediately after the guilty verdict and have been in custody since then. Under the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, persons convicted for stealing public funds must refund double the amount stolen and spend at least 10 years in prison. This means the two could be forced to refund at least 628 million shillings. Elsewhere, health officials in Embu County have commenced contact tracing for people who may have interacted with the 2 cases of COVID-19 reported in the region last week. Embu West Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Caroline Imaya is calling on residents to remain vigilant as the coronavirus is now spreading within the community.
Embu County first confirmed its first 2 cases of coronavirus last week, and it joins the growing list of counties affected by COVID-19. Authorities in Embu are now racing against time to stop further spread of the deadly virus.
Sasa tuko na kesi ya corona na ni muhimu wananchi na kila mtu waweze kutia bidii na kujibidiisha kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumefuata yale masharti ambayo yamewekwa na Wizara ya Afya.
Contact tracing has already commenced, with health officials keen to find anyone who might have come into contact with the 2 patients. Embu West Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Caroline Imaya, who received 30 water tanks and sanitizers donated to the county by the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, urged residents to strictly adhere to the COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
Donation ambayo tumepatiwa leo kutoka kwa Ministry of Irrigation na kuhakikishia ya kwamba tutahakikisha ya kwamba zimewekwa in public places. Zile mahali ambazo tuko na wananchi wengi kama marketplaces, we have boda sheds ambazo watu wengi wataweza kufaidi, na tuendelee kuhimiza watu waoshe mikono because tunajua hand washing is the basic measure that we can take to prevent coronavirus.
Si kaunti ya Embu peke yake ambayo itanufaika, tutaenda kwa kaunti tofauti. Jukumu letu kuu kama shirika ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunapeana maji ya kufanya kilimo, wakulima waweze kujiendeleza na kuzalisha chakula. Lakini kando na hayo, tunaelewa kwamba kuna majukumu ambayo yako kando ya hilo jukumu letu, ambayo ni kuhakikisha kwamba usawa, kuhakikisha kwamba afya, kuhakikisha kwamba social factors of the people zimeangaliwa.
Elsewhere in Busia County, an ongoing targeted testing exercise for COVID-19 came to a halt after residents protested what they term as discrimination by authorities. They say Busia, being a border county, puts them at a higher risk of infection and all residents should be tested.
Tungependa kwanza watu ya kupimwa hapa airstrip wakuwe wenyeji. Airstrip ndio wenye walishikana nao madrivers. Kuna wenye waliosha nguo, kuna wenye walipika chakula, kuna watu wengi hata maji, wengine walikuwa wanauzia madriver maji hapa within. So tungependa ikuwe tu ni watu ya airstrip kwanza ndio wengine wafate.
Tunaomba watu wa huku waanze kupimwa kwanza, alafu kama watataka kupima huko nje wa nini, kwa sababu wakikuja hapa wanaona kama kuna hiyo trailer au dereva ndio ameacha na wanaguza, si watapata corona pia.
Sasa ndio tumefika, tujui tutapimwa ama hatupimwi, sababu kazi sasa tumefunga. Ni kama watoto wetu leo watalala njaa, tujafanya kazi sana. Tuliambiwa tukuje kwa sababu ya vile trailer zilikuwa zimepanga pale Mundika, wana fununu ya kwamba tunaweza kuwa na corona. Sasa hatujui,
ndio sasa tumejitokezea tukuje kupimwa corona. Sasa kufika hapa wanasema hakuna kupima. Sisi hatukujua kama watu hapa hawakutangaziwa, lakini tauni yote sisi tulitangaziwa. Tumekuja ili tupimwe, turudi, wengine pia wakuje.
According to the Busia County Department of Health, shortage of testing chemicals has limited them to only conduct target testing.
We organized today for that exercise and it was targeted. You cannot just say I'm going to test everybody in the community. So we had targeted certain members of the community whom we feel could be more vulnerable by the nature of their job. For instance, you have seen we have our transport sector, the matatu. We had requested them to come and have their members tested. We also organized for people from the hotel industry, those who are operating guest houses, supermarket guys. So
Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Elsewhere, Kisii County Senator Professor Sam Ongeri has been elected a new chairperson of the Senate County Accounts and Investments Committee. But before that story, we want to now link up into the situation that's happening in Gikomba Market that was raised down this morning. We want to connect with Ben Chumba, who is our reporter on the ground, maybe to give us an update on what's happening there at this time. Ben, if you can hear me, what's the update there? We saw some dignitaries visiting.
A very good afternoon, Alan. Coming to you live from Gikomba Market in Nairobi. I can confirm that hundreds of traders are counting losses here following the fire outbreak that occurred early this morning at around 2 a.m. in the morning. We've been able to visit the area, and we can also confirm that property of unknown value has been damaged, and we managed to talk to some of the traders who are doing business in this area, and according to them, they say this is an incident that they have never seen before because it has really affected most of their businesses. And just to inform you that senior government officials were here early this morning to assess the situation and see way forward. And among the senior government officials were Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Karanja Kibisho. He was also accompanied by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Housing, that is Charles Hinga, and they were here actually to assess the situation and see what they can do. And some of the measures or directives that the government has issued is one, that over 389 households that have been affected by the fire will receive about 10,000 shillings each today to ensure that they don't sleep outside or they don't spend the night outside because their houses were engulfed by fire. So according to Dr. Kibisho, he says that the government will spend about between 22 to 25 million shillings that will be distributed among the households that have been affected. That is confirming that each household will receive around 10,000 shillings. And Dr. Karanja Kibisho said that they have been able to have meeting with area leaders and try to establish what is the problem, because they say that this is not the first time a fire is being reported to have damaged a lot of property here. So they are trying to find out what they can do. And some of the measures that they have put in place is that the government will construct a perimeter wall within 3 months from today. They say this will ensure that the security of the market is improved. And another issue that they agreed is that Safaricom, in conjunction with the Nairobi Metropolitan Services and the national government, will ensure that CCTVs are being installed in the market, so that at least next time they can easily, it can assist in terms of doing investigations, considering that this incident happened in the morning at around 2 a.m. Remember, 2 a.m. is within the curfew hours, so there's so many questions as to how the person was able to start the fire. The government says also that a borehole of around 100,000 litres will be constructed within the next 1 month. Dr. Kibisho says this will assist a lot, especially when there's a fire outbreak and there's need to for the fire extinguishers. It will really be helpful. He says that the government will allocate 10 million shillings so that it can be used to carry out the perimeter wall, the construction of the borehole, and also the CCTV. So most areas that were affected are said to be the cereal section, which had over 500 stores. There is the quarry, air market, solidarity section, social area, a go down, and a bank, which is also being utilized by the traders here, was also affected. Therefore, the traders here are saying that this is something that they have never seen before. And Dr. Karanja Kibisho has also been able to confirm that the government will not rest until they ensure that the perpetrators of this incident are brought to book. In fact, he says they have set up a call center at Nyayo House that will be receiving information from the public that can help in carrying and identifying the people who could have been behind this issue. So that is what we have as at the moment, and we can confirm that no casualty was reported in the incident that happened around 2 a.m. in the morning. Therefore, it's all about the properties that have been affected, and we managed to speak to a few traders, and actually what they're saying is that some of them recently took a loan so that they could boost their businesses, and then it happened that coronavirus came and the business was affected, and a few days after they reopened the business, it appears now that their properties have been distracted. Therefore, it is sad for many traders here, but we are waiting to see how the government will handle this. But according to Dr. Kibisho, he says that within 3 months, the government will be held accountable on the promises that they have given out to the traders here. So, Alan, that is what we have at now, but we will keep updating our viewers in our subsequent news bulletin. Back to you, Alan.
That's Ben Chumba on the ground at Gikomba Market, just giving us an update on the fire that happened there from early this morning. And he was just giving us an update, telling us that the PS for Interior, Dr. Karanja Kibisho, has promised that a perimeter wall will be built there within 3 months, and also just telling the residents there that development partners will come together with the government to install CCTV cameras just to ensure that there is security there, as well as a contact center for these traders at Nyayo House, 5th floor of Nyayo House, where they'll be able to go and talk about their grievances. Now, moving on, Kisii County Senator Professor Sam Ongeri has been elected the new chairperson of the Senate's County Public Accounts and Investments Committee. The professor will be deputized by his Marsabit counterpart, Hagura Godana, following a vote conducted on Thursday morning. The reconstitution of the Watchdog Committee comes months after a disputed election that saw the Orange Democratic Movement de-whip Narok Senator Ledama Olekina following his controversial election as chairperson.
Kisii County Senator Professor Sam Ongeri has taken over the reins of the Senate Public Accounts Committee following the reconstitution of the Senate Departmental Committees on Wednesday. Professor Ongeri, who will be deputized by Marsabit Senator Hargura Godana, will oversee the committee's probe into the expenditure of county governments over the next 2 years. The election comes months after a disputed poll that saw ODM de-whip Narok Senator Ledama Olekina following his controversial election as chairperson. Meanwhile, a group of women from Garissa County has faulted the recent ouster of Aden Duale as the leader of the majority party in the National Assembly.
Leo Jubilee Duale ametoka, angalia kama itaanguka ama itaanguka. Saa hii Jubilee itaanguka na hatukudanganywa tukiwa wakaji wa Garissa.
Kama sisi wananchi tunaomba kiti yetu iregeshwe kwa sababu Bwana Duale ni kijana yetu, ni ndugu yetu na bado tunamhitaji yeye. Bwana Duale hajaikosea mtu yoyote,
na sisi tumechagua Bwana Duale kama viongozi ya bunge, lakini saa hii Uhuru Kenyatta tunashinda kujua sababu gani ulichukua majority leader kwa Duale.
The women have accused the Jubilee Party of betraying the Garissa Township lawmaker despite his stellar work ethic over the last 7 years. Elsewhere, Maendeleo ya Wanawake Organization Coast Region Branch has criticized National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi for dismissing a petition seeking the impeachment of Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia. Nyali MP Mohammed Ali has vowed to file another petition of impeachment.
At about 16 minutes past the hour, we want to take our first short break now. But first, remember, you can interact with us at KBC Channel 1 on all platforms at _Aoko 76. We will be back right after these short messages.
On the next episode of Corner.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
Wazee ni miongoni mwa watu walio hatarini zaidi endapo watapata ugonjwa wa corona. Hii ndiyo sababu ni muhimu sana kuwahusisha katika mafunzo ya jinsi ya kujikinga dhidi ya ugonjwa huo.
Tuka.
Hey.
Habari ya leo?
Sawa kabisa.
Naona uko chonjo. Acha kwanza nikusanitize kidogo. Sanitizer yako iko kweli?
La bila gloves haiwezi. Rieni kujijua.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue. The long-standing rivalry between Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards, which dates back to the late 1960s. But this time, we fast forward to 1987 when the Mashemeji feud picked up in the final of the Moi Golden Cup. It's an encounter you can't afford to miss. From our archives, this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1 as we relive the golden days with our legends.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to devastate travel and tourism industry world over. But all is not lost, at least in the counties.
Kitu ya kwanza ni kuheshimu njuri cheki. Hii inaitwa kirunya. Ilikuwa inatumiwa kukeketa wasichana.
Beginning June 25th to 28th, we highlight tourism products available in Meru County at 9 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. We are glad. Now, Garissa County Government has received 10,000 face masks and a consignment of disinfectants from the Kenya Red Cross in a bid to curb the spread of the virus to frontline health workers. Speaking after the function, the county's Chief Executive Officer in charge of health, Ahmed Nadir Omar, said the county was ready for building its capacity to meet the presidential directive of having a 300-bed isolation capacity hospital. Garissa Governor Ali Korane has received 10,000 face masks, 15 boxes of Lysol disinfecting agents, and 10 boxes of assorted reproductive kits from the Kenya Red Cross Society. The items will be used in supporting frontline healthcare workers in the fight against COVID-19. The staff will receive training on case management, application and use of the equipment. Speaking after the function, CEC for Health Ahmed Nadir Omar said the county is working on having a 300-bed isolation capacity in readiness to deal with any eventuality.
We keep on upscaling our preparedness, and we're trying to improve on our bed capacity. We are at advanced stages in trying to implement the 300-bed capacity that was asked by the President, and our ICU is also at advanced stages.
Meanwhile, Mandera County government has distributed assorted food rations to over 13,000 vulnerable households. Governor Ali Roba said the donation is to mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic and floods that hit the area.
I would like to highlight the process of identification of vulnerable households was done through a very rigorous public participative process where the vulnerable households are 100% agreed upon by the community.
Now, Samburu County Governor Moses Lennon Kulal has launched a 27 million shillings relief food distribution exercise for residents affected by COVID-19 pandemic, drought, locust invasion and insecurity. 196,000 people in Marti, Nachola, Huruma, Bendera, Ngilai, Lesikan, Latakwen and South Hor areas in Samburu North will benefit. Lennon Kulal kicked off the exercise funded by the county government with the distribution of 5,000 bags of maize and 500 bags of beans.
Samburu County Governor Moses Lennon Kulal says lowland areas of Samburu North and Samburu East are the most affected by economic hardship at 85% and Samburu Central at 40%.
About 85% of households are affected in the lowlands. We are estimating about 40% for the central, that is areas around Maragal.
Lennon Kulal, who was in Baragoi to distribute relief food to a section of residents in Samburu North, urged the national government to supplement supplies to affected populations in the area where cattle rustling is rampant.
We are running a number of programs here in Samburu North, one being food distribution through our special programs department, to address the issues of the drought, especially for the vulnerable households.
Samburu North MP Alois Letoimaga also called upon the national government to work with the county government to support people affected by hunger brought about by drought and the COVID-19 pandemic in his constituency.
Mutu iko njaa, hakuna ng'ombe, hakuna mbuzi. Nataka chakula mingi kabisa. Shauri watu mingi, hakuna mali.
Tuna apili kwa serikali ya national government wa support county wapeane chakula kwa sababu ya drought na pia mambo ya COVID.
Acting County Secretary Bosco Sambu said the county government has set aside 109 million shillings to be used to purchase relief food and will be distributed to hunger-stricken people in the second phase. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Meanwhile, Malindi business community is counting losses running into millions of shillings after their properties were vandalized and sold cheaply to unsuspecting scrap metal dealers. Malindi Water and Sewerage Company Managing Director Gerald Mwambire said water supply has been disrupted in areas where the vandals stole water meters and pipes.
The Malindi business community has decried the rampant vandalism and theft of metallic items in their premises. They say that they have been counting losses amounting to millions of shillings after their properties were broken into, vandalized and scrap metal sold to unsuspecting dealers at throwaway prices. The latest incident involved two men who were arrested for stealing a 225 kV generator worth 1 million shillings at Sinban Hotel and sold it to a nearby scrap metal dealer for 10,000 shillings. Eric Mwashigari, the owner of Stars and Gators restaurant in Malindi and chairman of Kilifi Bars and Restaurants Owners, called on the vetting of scrap metal dealers before being allowed to operate.
It is an issue that needs to be addressed so that the scrap metals can actually interview whoever is selling them the scrap metal. They need to know where that scrap metal is coming from, who they bought it from, where they got it, and they need to know the ID number of the seller, so that in case of any issue, he can go back and identify whoever sold him the scrap metal.
The Malindi Water and Sewerage Company Managing Director Gerald Mwambire said that the water service provider had not been spared as hundreds of water meters, generators and transformers have been stolen, only to be found at the scrap metal yards in the town.
Our next move as water operators is we want to install these meters in people's houses. This has got challenges on us because of accessibility and even meter tampering. But we are left with no choice but to install these meters in people's premises.
And now, in a story of hope, a young philanthropist in Nyeri County has embarked on a campaign of ensuring KCP candidates in all public primary schools in the county continue learning despite the COVID-19 pandemic, which halted learning in schools. According to Waithira Maroro, the initiative to avail physical revision manuals to the candidates was informed by the need to bridge the technological gap that exists between learners in rural and urban areas in accessing online learning materials in order to ensure no pupil is disadvantaged. Now, Maruru noted that high levels of poverty have left many pupils disadvantaged, especially those whose parents cannot afford online learning for lack of internet connectivity and supporting devices such as smartphones or laptops. She said preparation of the revision materials was done in collaboration with teachers from various schools to ensure the content is relevant to the candidates and also in line with the curriculum.
When COVID-19 hit, I was very concerned about the local primary schools, the local pupils who go to public primary schools, who couldn't afford, who we know very well, most of the parents don't have smartphones, so they could afford online learning. They don't have TV sets in their homes. They're actually out there grazing, doing the normal home chores, yeah? They don't even have time to listen to the radio.
In that case, the best way to reach those pupils is getting materials, physical materials, that they can really go through during their time at home, so that at least they are not disadvantaged.
When you give a pupil this booklet, it's like giving them a teacher. But now you don't need a physical teacher because, you know, the social distancing with COVID-19. So the pupil, you just need this book, and if he or she follows it, he'll be able to revise on his own and be ready for KCP.
Meanwhile, Central Regional Commissioner Wilfred Nyangagwa has backed the recent reorganization of security teams in Nyandarua County, saying it will help bring to an end the runaway insecurity in the region. Nyangagwa, who chaired a series of security meetings in Nyandarua West Sub-County, said no stone will be left unturned in the renewed crackdown on criminal elements in the region. Nyandarua County has over the last few months been on the spot over an exponential rise in killings and organized crime.
The recent spike in senseless killings in Nyandarua County has led to increased security surveillance in the region. Several murder cases remain unresolved, even as the government insists that it is on top of the matter. Last week, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i announced the reorganization of security apparatus in the region, a move that the government hopes will bring some much-needed tranquility.
So we are asking communities also to provide the police with information so that the prosecution can be carried out, because that's where we have a role link.
Central Regional Commissioner Wilfred Nyangagwa said the onus is on the government to rein in on the runaway insecurity and restore public confidence in security apparatus. In April this year, a 30-year-old woman and a 5-year-old daughter died while undergoing treatment following an attack by unknown assailants.
Ili mfaulu kwa hii kazi ni kujiunga pamoja kufanya kazi kimulti agency. Ile strength mliona hapa hii wezi wa mifugo au murderers, defilers na wenye wanahusika kwa mambo ya ulevi haiwezi kushinda hii strength.
Now, a family in South Sea Estate, Nairobi, is searching for their 51-year-old kin who went missing 11 days ago. Jane Waruguru, a mother of 3, is said to have left her home for town on the morning of 15th June and has never been seen since. Efforts to trace her through her mobile phone since then have been futile. The family is now appealing to anyone who might have had any information about her whereabouts to contact them or report to any police station.
Fear, confusion, and sorrow is what best describes the situation at the family of Samuel Ngunjiri Ndege, the husband to 51-year-old Jane Waruguru, whose whereabouts are not clear. 11 days now since she left her home in South Sea to run some errands with a friend in Nairobi's Central Business District.
Akawa amekuwa ametuambia ya kwamba alikuwa anaenda town kumugarantia au kumpigia sahihi koligi wake ndio kupata loan ya sako yao.
On the day she disappeared, her daughter tried to reach her, but the phone was off.
Akampigia simu kutoka kwa simu yangu kwa sababu alikuwa anataka mama yake amnunulie kitu akirundi. So mtoto wangu akanirudishia simu yangu, akaniambia mama yao ni mteja.
Several attempts to reach her later in the day were also unsuccessful as her phone remained switched off. The family's search for their kin at hospitals the very day was in vain, and they proceeded to report the matter at Langata police station. With the frantic search efforts alive, the family shared the news on social media, and 5 days later, calls of her whereabouts came along. The caller informing them that she has been spotted in Kayole, but her condition worrying.
Kulingana na yeye, aliona kama ni mtu ana limp, na kaulizwa kama ni kufichika mguu, kasema ni kama ni mtu alikuwa ametembea na anaumwa ni kiatu. Nguo zilikuwa zile. Sasa akasema aliona tu kama ni mama anatafuta mahali ya bearing yake amepotea au anatafuta mahali na labda ameshaganyikiwa na wapi.
The family, however, says the scenario surrounding her disappearance is quite mysterious, as no one knows the friend she had gone to meet and that she had left behind her phone, which she frequently used. According to the family, Jane, who is a teacher by profession, is in sound mind and a jovial person. Any information regarding her whereabouts can be directed to Samuel Ngunjiri through contact number 0725 583 084 or Francis Madenge through contact number 0728 760 858 or call any police station. The sudden disappearance of Jane Waruguru has left her family with more questions than answers. But even amid the confusion, the family can only hope that sooner rather than later they will be able to locate their mother. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
Well, Kamche Menza's story now takes us to a second break. We'll be right back.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Huku visa vya maambukizi vikiongezeka na Wakenya kuzidi kuathirika kiuchumi, licha ya juhudi za kukabiliana na janga la korona kupamba moto, ni wazi kwamba mikakati zaidi ya kukabiliana na ugonjwa huu inahitajika.
Juu kuna watu wengine maybe anaweza patwa na hiyo ugonjwa but anaogopa kwenda hospitali kwa sababu anajua hata kama ni ugonjwa ya kawaida malaria anaogopa kwenda hospitali kwa sababu anajua kwamba akienda atapimwa corona.
The long-standing rivalry between Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards, which dates back to the late 1960s. But this time, we fast forward to 1987 when the Mashemeji feud picked up in the final of the Moi Golden Cup. It's an encounter you can't afford to miss. From our archives, this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. as we relive the golden days with our legends.
The FA Cup is back on your true sports partner KBC Channel 1 with the quarterfinals of the competition set to take place this weekend. Norwich will be at home to Manchester United this Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Igalo scores! Oh, saved! Krul went the right way.
In our action-packed football bonanza, don't miss out. Pandemic continues to devastate travel and tourism industry world over. But all is not lost, at least in the counties.
Kitu ya kwanza ni kuheshimu injury checking. Hii inaitwa kirunya, ilikuwa inatumiwa kuketa wasichana.
Beginning June 25th to 28th, we highlight tourism products available in Meru County at 9 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. It's time to transact. Now, over-reliance on formal employment to drive growth within the pensions industry is to blame for the low penetration rate. CPF Group Managing Director Jose Akili says there is need to prioritize increasing awareness and broader availability of pension products to enhance savings and boost uptake, especially in the Juakali sector.
Even though Kenya's pension industry assets have grown to over 1.2 trillion shillings, penetration is still low.
We want to encourage our members, and we're working with the government and our regulator. We widen the coverage of pension so that we have more than 20% of formal sector. We want to get into the informal sector, and these are the models we are discussing.
CPF Group Managing Director Jose Akili blames this on the current policy framework that heavily relies on formal employment, effectively cutting off a majority in the informal sector.
You know the way a baby trusts the mother or the father's hands. They feel Kenya government somehow will take care of them even in those days when they are no longer working. They think, but nobody is doing something about it. So they are therefore able to say, my money is my money. I make my money now. I enjoy it now. So they spend a lot of money on entertainment. If you look at the GDP of the country, it's huge. But then the saving amount is less.
Kili is calling on pension managers to customize products for those in the Juakali sector. Poor saving culture among Kenyans and mentality that investing in pension schemes is not for the youth has also limited uptake within the industry.
Now, Kenyans find it easier to, when they have a problem, solve it with a quick loan. Now, that tells you that unless we do something to make people first save, that you have to save something before you actually spend, we are in danger.
Nonetheless, the industry is optimistic of a turnaround following the review of the retirement and benefits policy framework that has, among others, created an avenue for members to make voluntary contributions towards post-retirement medical fund.
We want also to help our government to invest in some of the projects like affordable homes. We want to implement this universal health coverage by actually bringing medical, pre and post-medical fund arrangement by every pension scheme. And you can see where we are heading. This would actually compete in some way. Having a post-medical medical fund would actually compete with NHIF.
Yes.
So that people can see, I can make my own arrangements and still be able to, and use NHIF to complement.
Statistics indicate that most retirees spend a huge chunk of their pension savings on medical expenses.
I want to say that one of the things we are happy about the recent changes in the law is that one, the members of parliament, and I want to applaud them at least for rejecting the amendments to tax those who are earning pensions who are 65 and above. I definitely say that would have been very counterproductive. The second issue, we are happy that they also refused to introduce taxes on NSSF. I told you the amount of money which members are saving in NSSF, and if you tax them, what are you telling them? Just go and take the little money and die.
Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Meanwhile, the construction of the multi-billion shillings Thwake multi-purpose dam in Makueni County is on schedule despite setbacks occasioned by the COVID-19. The contractor had sent home 400 workers, retaining 800, but Water Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki says all employees will be brought back to hasten the construction of the project that is now 37% complete.
Despite disruptions brought about by the COVID-19, Water Ministry officials maintain that construction of Thwake Multipurpose Dam is on course and would be completed by the year 2022 as scheduled.
This project, which took off in November of 2018, has a due date for completion at the end of the year 2022. So given the time that is left, clearly one would see that this project is moving well in terms of the timelines.
The project that is 37% complete is facing a 5% delay owing to reduction in the number of workers by 400 to 800. The CS says all of them will be brought back to recoup the time lost.
I have agreed with the consultants that going forward, the difference of an additional 400 workers must be brought back so that we catch up on the lost 5% of this project.
Water Ministry officials say they are working closely with Environment Ministry and 3 counties to address pollution of rivers Athi and Nairobi.
The source of the water that is coming here in Thwake Dam originates all the way from Ondiri Dam, coming all the way through Nairobi River, which, as you know, has been polluted. Was starting to clean up Nairobi River all the way at the source, which is Ondiri Swamp, or in Kikuyu.
The dam, upon completion, will serve close to 1.3 million households in Makueni, Kitui and Machakos counties. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Now, Kenya is targeting an additional 1 million kitchen gardens over the next 2 years as part of a nutrition improvement program. Agriculture Chief Administrative Secretary Ann Nyaga says the project will target households with more than 5 family members in a project aimed at providing alternative livelihoods of households.
In a bid to enhance food security and nutrition in the country, the government plans to start 1 million kitchen gardens in the next 2 years. The project aims at mainstreaming nutrition in the agriculture value chain, with each household receiving 5 vegetable seeds varieties, as well as grants to venture into fish and poultry farming.
We have been very deliberate in all our programming across all the 47 counties to be able to provide finances to help farmers, and most particularly the homesteads, the households, to be able to set up their own kitchen gardens.
Under the initiative, a group of households will be offered grain dryer to minimize post-harvest losses.
CVAP, how we've designed it, will be giving seedlings and also some drying units so that our farmers can be able to preserve the vegetables, and then also we'll be giving shade nets. So that
the project is also earmarked to boost nutrition and provide alternative income for selected households.
The more that farm pond technology is realized, the more there will be the nutrition and even income for our people.
Also on offer is training of youth on proper crop husbandry to engage in the program's value chain. Benson Dioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Still on development, Kiambu residents are set to benefit from water dams projects worth 48 billion shillings that the government says will ease water scarcity in the county. Irrigation PS Joseph Irungu says this will also be complemented by water construction ponds and boreholes on reclaimed land. Details of this story and others in our corporate briefs.
Kiambu County is a water scarce due to its topography. To help residents access clean and reliable water, the government has embarked on construction of dams, water ponds and boreholes across the county. Part of the project involves upgrade of the sewage system at a cost of 600 million shillings.
We have mega projects that are in Kiambu. We have the dams like we are doing Karimeno Dam.
which is costed at 24 billion Kenya shillings. We have an upcoming Roiro 2 dam at a cost of 17 billion Kenya shillings. And those dams may not basically serve the interest of Kiambu. Much of that water may be reticulated to Nairobi County, leaving Kiambu still water scarce.
Elsewhere, Microsoft launched the Game of Learners program that takes the form of a hackathon aimed at spurring innovation among university students in Kenya. The initiative, developed by Microsoft's Africa Development Center, is student-driven and hands-on, with the overall objective of empowering students to develop impactful solutions that can help address some of Africa's and the world challenges. Microsoft's Africa Development Center Managing Director Jack Ngare says the program also targets to empower Microsoft students and partners to develop leadership skills by student participants, technical skills in a fun competition, while building awareness to all undergrad students. Finally, Scope Markets Kenya, in its latest review of the global markets, says uncertainties related to COVID-19 are influencing movement of major currencies, stocks and commodities. The licensed non-dealing online foreign exchange broker says the second wave of coronavirus infections after easing of lockdown in major global economies, coupled with uncertainty in the timing of reopening of air travel, are hurting economic growth and oil demand. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Scope Markets Kenya projects that the Kenyan economy is likely to contract by 1% this year. The World Bank availed $1 billion in budgetary support to help the rebuilding of Kenyan economy, as well as reduce the poverty gap post-pandemic.
Meanwhile, German chemical firm Bayer will pay up to $10.9 billion to settle cancer claims linked to its Roundup weed killer. The firm has been facing 125,000 lawsuits over Roundup's alleged carcinogenic effects. Details of this and more in our international business outlook.
The New York-based law firm Waits and Luxembourg says it has reached a settlement on behalf of almost 100,000 people, although Bayer denies any wrongdoing but said the payout would end the uncertainty. Roundup was originally launched by U.S. firm Monsanto, which Bayer bought in 2018 for $63 billion. Since its introduction more than 4 decades ago, it has become known as the world's most popular weed killer. As part of the settlement, Bayer would pay as much as $9.8 billion to resolve outstanding claims and set aside a further $1.25 billion to deal with any future action. Meanwhile, the U.S. Defense Department has determined that 20 top Chinese firms, including Huawei, are either owned by or backed by the Chinese military. The list, seen by U.S. media, features video surveillance firm Hikvision, China Telecoms, China Mobile, and Avic. The determination could lay the groundwork for new U.S. financial sanctions against the firms. It comes as the U.S. pressured other countries, including the U.K., to bar Huawei for national security reasons. Reports indicate that the list has been published in order to inform congressional committees, U.S. businesses, investors, and other potential partners of Chinese firms about the role such firms may play in transferring sensitive technology to the Chinese military. And Qantas Airways plans to retrench 6,000 workers as part of its plans to survive the coronavirus pandemic. The job cuts equate to about a fifth of the airline's workforce prior to the COVID-19 crisis. In March, it furloughed more than 80% of its staff. Australia's national carrier said the collapse in global air travel had devastated revenues. Last week, the Australian government said its border would most likely remain closed into next year. It prompted Qantas to cancel all international flights until late October, except for those to New Zealand. Thursday, Chief Executive Alan Joyce said the airline expected smaller revenues in the next 3 years, forcing it to become a smaller operation to survive. Ronald Willie, Business Defined.
Now, Roiro town in Kiambu County has cleared the road and is now set to receive a city status. Plans are underway to achieve the bid for the town that prides in a population of over 490,000 people as per the 2019 National Census enumeration. According to Martin Kangiri, Kiambu County Program Coordinator for Urban Areas, the development will not only put the populous town on the national map, but will also improve the local economy. Population not being the only factor to elevating a town to a city, Kiambu County, through the Kenya Urban Support Program in collaboration with the World Bank, has stepped up an ambitious push to ensure the busy town of Ruiru has facilities that match a city status. With over 490,000 people as per the 2019 national census, Ruiru town becomes the fourth most populated town in Kenya after Nairobi, Mombasa and Nakuru. According to Martin Kangere, the program coordinator for urban areas at the county, elevation of the city will in turn create jobs for the people. Speaking while inspecting infrastructure upgrades at the town, Kangere revealed that already the town has more than 60 industries, a growing number of real estate companies, among other businesses.
Ruiru municipality is like you can all see, is a very busy place. It's an upcoming town. It has a very high population as per the outcome of the last census. We have a population of about 498,000 people.
So far, the municipality has received 484 million shillings since the year 2018-2019, which has been used in renovation of parking spaces, tarmacking of link roads within the town, installation of solar and electric lights to facilitate better and secure movement of persons even at night.
An upcoming city, we have so many requirements we need so that we can qualify to become a city. One of them is having a big hospital. And we are engaging with the county government so that we can have the hospital here upgraded so that we can have a big mortuary to accommodate the needs of the people around here.
Frederick Karanja, the town municipality manager, said his office has now embarked on construction of various infrastructure of national standard, such as a sporting field which will be equipped with lights, spectating stands, swimming pool and other gaming zones.
In terms of disaster management, we've acquired a brand new firefighting engine that will ensure that that will cater for the whole municipality. And we've also upgraded our link roads, like one in Watalam, joining Kiambu Road and the bypass, so that we can integrate our network systems. Yes. After the population census that was just concluded, we attained the numbers to be elevated into a city. To be a city, we require 250,000 residents, but in Ruiru we have 498,000 people. So it is in the pipeline through our county assembly.
Ruiru's constituency is also home to major investment projects such as Tatu City and the upcoming Northland City and all-time railway services, among others. Welcome to sports. Now, the national government has embarked on construction of a new sports stadium complex in Kisumu to nurture talent and boost sporting activities in the Lake region. The 1.4 billion shillings facility at Mamboleo Showgrounds has been named Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium and will have a capacity of 30,000 seats. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed said money for construction of the project shall be sourced from the Sports Fund. She also added that 350 million shillings has been released and the contractor is expected to complete the first phase of the project by December this year. The whole project is estimated to cost 1.4 billion shillings, and at completion, the facility will host a football, rugby, tennis and hockey pitches.
The directive that both me and the governor have from His Excellency the President and the former Prime Minister to make sure that this is done and it's done quickly. Today we are very, very happy that we've been able to break ground. We've named the stadium already, and so yeah, so it's all full speed ahead.
Okay, another question.
Thing that may even be developed a little further in future, so that we have spaces for basketball, for instance, yeah, and things like that. But this is the one that we're focused on, between now and December.
This was my passionate dream that we should use this ground here much more productive. And I'm glad that as that was happening, we were making plans to modernize Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground and build Moi Stadium. This happened, so I'm just so happy with the minister.
Now, Mohamed Salah believes now is the right time for Liverpool to end their 30-year wait for a top-flight English title. Salah scored as the Reds beat Crystal Palace 4-0 on Wednesday night, a result that leaves them only 2 points away from winning the Premier League title. Now, they could seal their victory tonight if Manchester City, the side that piped them to last season's title, fail to win at Chelsea. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane and Fabinho were all on target for the Reds. Now, Liverpool's last top-flight league title, their 18th, came in 1989-1990 when Sir Kenny Dalglish led them to victory. Now, the action continues tonight. Arsenal travels to Southampton while Burnley will host Watford. Well, that's all we had for you here on the KBC Channel 1 Lunchtime News Desk. We do appreciate your feedback online and elsewhere. I see a lot of feedback from Tsuma. We also have Cherop and we also have Chebet and Esialo, among others. We cannot mention them all, but we do thank you for that. My name is Alan Aoko and our sign language interpretation has been done by Lucy Maura. Do enjoy the rest of your view.
Pandemic continues to devastate travel and tourism industry world over. But all is not lost, at least in the counties.
Kitu ya kwanza ni kuheshimu injury checking. Hii inaitwa Kirunya, ilikuwa inatumiwa kuketa wasichana.
Beginning June 25th to 28th, we highlight tourism products available in Meru County at 9 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College